Good morning, everyone, and welcome to National Graduate Week 2021, a career map event. This morning, we will be hearing from Chloe Twining and Jake Morton from Chatteris Education Foundation, live from Hong Kong. Before we begin, I would just like to remind you that this event is live, but it is being recorded. So if you'd like to watch it again or share it, the recording will be available on www.nationalgraduateweek.co.uk. I'll pop that into the chat in a minute. In the meantime, please drop your questions in the chat during the presentation. I'll be gathering these up for the Q&A following the presentation. So I'll be back shortly. And in the meantime, without further ado, I'll hand you over to Chloe and Jake. Enjoy!
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. We are here from Chatteris International Graduate Scheme, and today we're going to give you a look at our graduate scheme, life in Hong Kong, and some progression opportunities available to you. So I'll pass over to Jake to introduce himself.
Hello everyone, I'm Jake Morton. I'm a primary program manager at Chatteris Educational Foundation. I joined in 2019. And I'm from the UK, and I have a degree in urban planning from Newcastle University. And I'll hand you over to Chloe.
Hello again. Yep, so I joined Chatteris not way back, 3 years ago in 2018. I started as a primary tutor. We both did the graduate scheme we're going to be talking about today. And now I'm the recruitment and marketing manager. So I went to the University of Edinburgh and I studied linguistics and English language. And as soon as I graduated, I came out here. So today's presentation, we're going to be giving you an introduction to the organization, an overview of our graduate program, some of the progression opportunities that we offer, information about moving to Hong Kong, information about applications and some hints and tips about applications too. And then we've got time at the end for any questions you might have. Over to Jake.
Fantastic, thanks Chloe. So, who are we? Chatteris Educational Foundation is a registered non-profit charitable organization that exists to support young people in Hong Kong with their English language learning, and has been pursuing this mission for over 30 years. Our mission is to raise the English proficiency and self-confidence of Hong Kong's young people, particularly the less privileged, through dynamic interaction with English-speaking university graduates working in creative partnership with schools. Why do we do it? So nearly 50% of students can't access university in Hong Kong because of their English grades. In Hong Kong, there is a system similar to GCSEs, where if you do not get above a certain mark in your English, you're unable to apply for those universities. Only 7% of children from underprivileged families get accepted into university. English is a requirement for many jobs in Hong Kong, not just graduate jobs, but also jobs in industries such as tourism. And we want to stop English being a barrier to Hong Kong students. And back over to Chloe.
Okay, great. So we've got our why we do the things we do and what we do, but what can you do to help and how can you join us? So we have the Chatteris International Graduate Program, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about that now. But before I do, let me share with you a video about the program.
Number 2, today
I learned about
perfect studying and learning.
Thank you, the animal said.
and faster. Sleep now. In your nice bed.
When and why?
You're looking for a person, reason, causes. If there's more than one, which one?
Okay, and then you just measure and then put scores. Just like hell, good job. Cheese is a cheese. The cheese is a cheese.
So our learners have to be motivated to learn. Focus is variety and entertainment.
2 years with career progression, working in a graduate program for an NGO in Hong Kong is an amazing opportunity.
I have made some of the best friends, I think, in the world here.
When I arrived in Hong Kong, it was a lot busier and bigger than I had.
They make it very easy to settle in, to meet new people.
I'm and potentially teach, but I didn't know in what context. So while I was doing my masters, I came across Chatteris through like my university job board.
So I took the plunge and moved here to Hong Kong, fell in love with it, and didn't really want to leave yet. So here I am.
But I would not swap this job for anything in the world. Like, it's so rewarding to have the kids come up to you, just calling you by your name and using words that you've taught them.
Experience now decoding different accents from everywhere. So there's a lot of us from England, Canada, the States.
There to support you in personal things, absolutely fun, and professionally. And they do really cover that. We have monthly training sessions.
It's not just teaching. You're working for an NGO, you're fundraising, you're doing stuff outside the classroom, community stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can take from it.
They offer things like CV writing classes. They help you kind of develop in a way that will benefit your future career path.
If you're about to graduate university or you're a recent graduate, I think the Chatteris program in Hong Kong is something you definitely have to consider, because you need a degree to get in. You don't need a formal teaching qualification. You learn on the job. They train you up pretty well. They give you on-the-job experience, and the skills that you learn here you can take into so many different walks of life.
Rewarding, really funny, challenging,
Unforgettable, chaotic, and memorable.
Inspiration, creativity, the community.
Fast paced, lots of fun, very exciting.
I love it and it's great fun.
Okay, thank you for watching that. I hope you all enjoyed it. I will go back to our presentation. Okay, so you got a brief overview of our graduate program there, and now we can go into a bit more detail. So as you may have heard, there is a 9-month paid program in Hong Kong, and it is an opportunity for you to not only make a positive social impact, but have really great professional and personal development. So you'll be contracted from August 2022 until May 2023, and this is inclusive of a 3-week orientation period. During your time with us, you'll be placed in a local school as an English tutor, and you'll receive monthly training, in-school support from an assigned program manager like Jake, and you'll have a network of 70 other recent graduate teachers, so you'll have friends as soon as you arrive. There's a thriving social community with events, clubs, sports teams, anything you can think of, we can put together for you guys to get to know each other and to get to know Hong Kong. Pass over to Jake.
Thanks very much. So, your role in school, you'll be placed in a local Hong Kong school full-time to work alongside the local teaching staff. Your role will be to plan and deliver lessons, as well as interactive workshops, tutorials, and events outside of the classroom. So in terms of classroom activities and out of class, you'll spend about a third of your time in class and a third of your time doing out of class activities, and another third doing preparation. Before all that, you'll go through orientation. And at the start of your program, you'll undergo a 3-week training program to get you feeling confident and prepared for your first day in the classroom. You'll receive additional training every month, and as Chloe said, additional support from a dedicated program manager who will be looking, sort of overseeing you in your role in school throughout the year, and will be someone who provides constant assistance to you. And our programs, we currently offer 2 programs working with primary school students, so those aged 5 to 11, or secondary school students, so that's ages 12 to 18. We do not require any prior teaching experience, just a desire and passion to help young minds. So teaching experience is something that could benefit you, especially if you're looking to kind of pursue a role in teaching, but your attitude is very, very important as well, and your skills. So the 2 programs, as I said before, primary, which is one of the programs that I'm program manager for, is geared towards teaching students aged 5 to 11. Because of the curriculum, you'll likely be focusing more on oral and reading skills, so things like phonics, read-along classes, and you'll help prepare your students for speaking exams and for speech festivals as well. We have a team of CNETs in one of our schools right now preparing small classes of students for a public speaking festival in November. And you'll be running clubs such as storytelling sessions and drama groups. And there are plenty of clubs within schools. And like I say to our arriving CNETs, if you have a passion or you have an interest or a skill, there is flexibility in the school to bring that forwards and teach the students something about what you know in a club. And the secondary program teaches students aged 11 to 18, and with a bit more broad curriculum, focusing on oral, writing, and reading skills. And because of the age, especially if you're teaching upper secondary, you'll be helping prepare students for the university exams and life after school. And similarly to primary, you'll also be able to run clubs, things such as debating teams, board games, and film clubs. And as I said, many more depending on your interests and what you'd like to bring to the program. So, you might be thinking, is this program right for me? Whether you're thinking about becoming a teacher, looking to spend some time working for a non-profit organization, or seeking professional development as you take the first steps in your career, Chatteris Educational Foundation is an excellent starting point. And now I will hand you back over to Chloe.
Great, thanks, Jake. I want to just go into a little bit about why we joined. You know, we were both in your shoes a few years ago, both kind of worrying about what to do after graduation. And I think it might be beneficial to know why we joined. So back when I was leaving university, I had a desire to work with children. I wanted to go into speech therapy. Evidently, that didn't happen because I'm here doing recruitment. But it allowed me to have 9 months experience working with children to see if it was something that I enjoyed, and I did, but I also found enjoyment in other areas of the organization and was able to progress into a management role and then into a recruitment role, which I really enjoy now. Jake, why did you join?
In short, because of you. But, I'll explain that story in a little bit. So I graduated from Newcastle University in 2018, and I studied urban planning, but I didn't really want to go into it. I was a bit disillusioned with that sort of profession when I graduated, so I sort of picked up odd jobs throughout the year, and I was working as a professional photographer up until I joined Chatteris. And on a chance visit back to the UK, Chloe and I met up, and Chloe told me about Chatteris, and for me, I think it was an opportunity to travel and also to get into sort of a different career path and sort of develop my skills, because I was good at certain things, but I think in terms of what working at Chatteris helped me develop, it was a totally different skill set, but one that I was really eager to pursue. So for me, it was about professional development and about trying something new and getting to see the world. And I absolutely loved it. You know, getting in there and teaching and having these constant opportunities to improve yourself. After every lesson, there's always a period of self-reflection that you go through as a teacher, and it really helps you to kind of focus on how things are going well in your career, and also what you really enjoy doing and how well lessons can go, because they are teaching is honestly, it's fantastic. And yeah, and then I did a year teaching upper secondary students, and then I taught for another year, and then I applied to stay on at Chatteris because I believe in the mission of Chatteris, and I really enjoy the work that we do and wanted to continue supporting that.
Great, thanks, Jake. I hope that gave you a little insight into our decision making. Okay, so let me go into a little bit about the extracurriculars that Chatteris offer. So we know that moving to a new country can be daunting, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So we put on lots of opportunities for you to get to know the other tutors and to get to know Hong Kong and each other. So what we have is called Chatteris Love, and this is kind of an umbrella term for everything that we offer. So we offer clubs such as Chatteris Explorers Club, which is where this picture is from. This is a group of women that joined us a couple months ago, back in August, and they're already fast friends. They're out exploring the nature of Hong Kong. So Chatteris Explorers do things like hiking, canoeing, diving, all that sort of stuff. The hiking club also goes out into nature. We have a football club that plays other teams throughout Hong Kong. We have the Get Moving Club, which does things like city runs and park races. We have our LGBTQIA+ club for allies and for members of that community. We also have a nature walks club for if you want to get outside but not too active. We've got a surf club for when the waves are big. And we also run monthly events. So this month we're doing a bowling activity for our staff to get to know each other. We also do Christmas events, Chinese New Year events, cultural events, and well-being events. So there's plenty to get involved in. And if none of this sounds like your cup of tea, there's also the opportunity for you to start your own group and find others that are interested in things like you. So just like uni and societies, there's something for everyone. As well as Chatteris Love, we also have our community programs to get involved with. So we are unique in that not only do we connect our recent graduates to local schools, we also connect them to other NGOs throughout Hong Kong. So what this is we partner with local charities in Hong Kong and allow our tutors to give back to the local community while getting more teaching experience or NGO experience and leadership skills. So this is completely voluntary. You do not need to do this. However, if you'd like more experience and you'd like to give back a little bit, it's completely welcome. So some of our partners include Heap Hong Society for Students with Autism Spectrum Disorder. So our tutors can go on a Saturday morning and volunteer their time teaching children with autism the English language through games and storytelling. We also have TCK Learning Center for Domestic Helpers and Migrant Workers in Hong Kong. So this is teaching adults, and you can put on an event completely based on what you enjoy. So we've had some vlogging workshops, some cooking workshops, just to get them chatting English in a communicative and relaxed environment. We also work with a children's group home, and we do our Chatteris Impossible to Possible hiking group, which takes out inner city children from less privileged areas into nature and gets them chatting in English in a relaxed atmosphere. So the majority of our programs do focus on speaking English and with these communities who potentially don't have the opportunities to elsewhere. So it's a really rewarding thing to do in your spare time. And it looks great on your CV too. Okay, so employee support. We recognize that moving to Hong Kong is a lot to ask. You know, you're picking up your life from potentially the UK and moving to the other side of the world. So we like to offer a lot of support to our staff. So some of the things that we offer are a loan scheme. So this is a no interest fee loan scheme, and it's available to all of our employees to help with arrival in Hong Kong. So we offer 9,000 Hong Kong dollars, which equates to about £900. And this is to help you with setting up an apartment, you know, paying for deposits, furniture, anything you may need when you arrive. This can be paid back monthly out of your wage, or it can be paid back at the end of your contract. So for example, if you use that fund to pay for your deposit on a flat, when your program ends in May and you get your deposit back, you can pay it back to us. As in Hong Kong dollar loan for any emergencies you may have, whether that be a medical emergency, a personal emergency, it's there for you, no questions asked, and that again is paid back monthly. We also offer a wellbeing team, and our wellbeing team are both mentally first aid trained and on hand to offer help and advice. And we're also offering partnership with 2 local mental health support services now. So we offer all of our staff 3 online sessions or 3 in-person sessions with a trained counsellor should they need it. It's completely confidential, but it is there for you should you need it. Okay, over to Jake to talk about why Chatteris.
So Chloe mentioned before about the support that Chatteris gives you when moving to Hong Kong. So here's a list detailing what you can expect from us. So pre-arrival, there's visa sponsorship and application on your behalf. I know that I looked at sort of similar options in this region, and having the support through this process was really valuable because it sort of took a lot of the pressure off of moving internationally. Pre-arrival webinars and newsletters. So there's further chances for you to ask questions as well about Chatteris, about moving to Hong Kong, even before you're here. There's dedicated support staff to help with any queries. And there's a social media network of tutors. So if you were to join Chatteris, there'd be groups, group chats. So you can make friends before you arrive, and we'll talk about coming over. I know that when I traveled to Hong Kong, it turns out that there were 6 other CNETs on my flight on the same time. We just didn't recognize each other. In terms of orientation, so you'll receive 3 weeks of orientation training. During that time, you'll have accommodation provided for you. And in between living in the accommodation and finding your own house in Hong Kong, you'll receive financial and logistical help to find accommodation. And you'll also get an assigned mentor to help with settling in, to help with any queries or questions you might have about Hong Kong, for someone to pass on their advice. So a mentor is a senior CNET, so someone who's been here for at least a year. And a mentor will be assigned to everyone, every single arriving CNET. And so you'll always have someone who's an experienced CNET to chat with you and to give you advice before you move to Hong Kong and while you're there. In terms of professional development, we have monthly professional development workshops and events that cover a wide range of topics, such as out-of-class activities, classroom management, and then you'll also receive personal training and feedback sessions. So once a month, your program manager will come into school and observe your lessons and give you feedback, and you can have discussions about your performance as a teacher and any ideas you might have going forwards. You'll receive career mentorship, and there'll be networking events as well. And there's opportunities for career advancement in either teaching or management capacities. And in terms of personal development, as Chloe mentioned before, we have an active social community who are engaging in a lot of different clubs, and there's over 70 recent graduates. You can also receive Cantonese lessons and cultural workshops. One of our core values is cultural exchange. So there's plenty of opportunities to learn about local culture and speak with people and learn more in kind of an English language medium as well to make it more approachable. And as Chloe detailed before, there are societies and clubs to develop your skills and interests, and also for you to bring your skills and interests to the team and perhaps even bring some people into it. For example, Surf Club, I know, was set up by a very keen CNET who wanted to share his love of surfing with everyone, and now we have a team of people who get to try out surfing in Hong Kong. And you'll also receive welfare and emergency support, as detailed by Chloe before. So if we go through to the next slide. So here is Abby's story. Abby was a Chatteris tutor for a year, And then, as I mentioned before, after 1 year, you'll become a Chatteris senior tutor. And then after his second year, she applied to be part of the Hong Kong Education Bureau Native English Speaking Teacher Scheme. You may see this referred to as the NET scheme. But as you can see there before, Abby's story is somewhat similar to mine, where she sort of struggled with finding a career before Hong Kong and tried a few different things to find out what suited her before trying out teaching. Yeah, it really helped her grow as an educator and help her realize that teaching is something that she wanted to pursue. And you do get real classroom experience throughout your time in the program. And also, if you make it clear that you want to develop as a teacher as a long-term profession, then there is a wealth of support available to you as you are going through this process, and also support in applying for the Hong Kong EDB NET scheme. And as you can see, Abby was accepted into the EDB NET scheme, and they are aware of us, and we do have a reputation with them. So demonstrating that you have experience with Chatteris is definitely a plus when applying for this program. And also the range of voluntary activities that you can do also looks great on a CV, but it's also a fantastic, rewarding experience in and of itself. And as Abby says, her time at Chatteris definitely helped give her valuable skills and experience that allowed her to start her career in education in Hong Kong. And now I'll pass you over to Chloe.
Thanks, Jake. So you might be sitting here thinking, but I don't want to be a teacher long term, which, me and Jake don't either. And we have plenty of opportunities for people like yourself. So take Emily here. Emily joined us as a Chatteris tutor in 2019 after graduating from Nottingham University with a degree in English. So she started off in the primary team, tried out teaching for 9 months, had a great time, but decided that she wanted to stay with Chatteris but have professional development outside of teaching. So Emily was accepted onto our management program and became a primary program manager and has been in that role for 2 years now. And she said that she has moved into a managerial role for her second year in the organization, and she now manages 11 tutors across 4 schools, and she's gained valuable experience in the NGO sector while honing her professional skills. So if you do go down our management route, there is a lot of responsibility very quickly. You do gain those management skills very quickly, and it's great. And it looks very impressive when you transfer to other organizations, having such a big leadership opportunities so early in your career.
I'd say just before we go to the next slide, as a recent manager myself, I think something that kind of runs through Chatteris, I would say, is the support that you receive at the stages in your career. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to go into management, but I wasn't sure if I was ready or not. And so I took the dive, I applied for it. And I have to say the support that I've received since becoming a manager has been absolutely fantastic. And I think the culture in Chatteris really facilitates that. So, for taking a dive into something new, there is a huge team around you to support you in these choices and these decisions in your career. That's all I had to say, Chloe.
Thanks, Jake. Okay, so let's go into a little bit about Hong Kong. So there are many teach abroad programs out there, but why should you come and do it in Hong Kong? So Hong Kong is unlike anywhere I've ever visited before. It's so diverse. It's East meets West almost. So let's go into a couple of the points I've made on the slides, and you can enjoy the glorious pictures, some of which have been taken by Jake himself. So Hong Kong really is an international hub. It's known as Asia's World City, and you will meet people from all over the world here, and they have communities and restaurants and bars from kind of everyone in the world. There's French people here, African people, British people, American people, everywhere. So it's a really great way to meet new people and to experience new cultures. There's also a really vibrant city life. There's always something going on. I know I FaceTimed my mom the other day, and I was out for a walk at 9 o'clock at night. And she's like, "What are you doing outside? Is it not dangerous?" I'm like, "No, it's fine. Like, everyone's out." It's like going out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's always busy. There's a really bustling scene. There's night markets, there's karaoke bars, rooftop bars. There's something for everyone in terms of nightlife and city life. Then as well, if potentially a dense urban environment isn't something that you can see yourself in all the time, Hong Kong also has an amazing nature scene, which I didn't know about actually before arriving in Hong Kong. There are great hikes, there's tropical beaches. It makes you look like you're in the Philippines or Thailand. Some of the beaches here, they're gorgeous. Secluded waterfalls that you can go swim in, rock pools. There's really loads of opportunities to relax and to get away from Hong Kong life. There's over 250 outlying islands in Hong Kong that you can go and visit by getting on a boat or by train that goes kind of across. So there's so many things to see and do, which is amazing. I'm going to show you a quick video now, which is from one of our tutors. So we run a competition each year called the 1 second a day video competition. So here you go. Okay, thank you for watching that. As I was saying, that was a 1 second a day video for one of our tutors' first months in Hong Kong. So it just gives you a really great overview of all the things that you can do while you're in Hong Kong and that you can pack into your weekends and after school. So there's always a great time to kind of explore and see Hong Kong. Okay, so as I said, I'm the recruitment manager, so I oversee all of our hires and our applications. So I'm going to take you through how to apply to the program. You know, maybe you're watching this and going, "Oh my God, I want to join." So if that's you, please listen on. So our application process runs in 3 sections. So we have an online application. So what you'll do is you'll visit our website and fill in an application form. So it'll ask for standard information about your degree, whereabouts you're from, phone number, etc. And then we'll also ask you to answer 2 long answer questions. So one of these is about teaching and one is about leadership skills. And then we ask you to email us your CV and your cover letter to hr@chatteris.org.hk. This is all on our website, so no need to scribble it down now. Then we will run 2 interviews. These will be done over Google Meet. Your first round interview will be done with a program manager like Jake, and they'll chat to you about the program, they'll chat to you about your experiences and your suitability. Then your second round interview will be with a program director, the CEO, or myself. And we'll get to know you more a little bit and find out about your kind of teaching skills, your personal skills, and see your suitability for the program once more. Then if you're accepted onto the program, you'll receive an offer letter and we'll start to gather your documents from you, for example, transcripts, degree certificates, etc., and we'll apply for your visa on your behalf. You might be thinking, "Oh no, I'm in my last year, I don't have my degree certificate yet." That's completely fine. You are still able to apply. We'll just ask you to get a letter from your university with your predicted grades and your intent to graduate. So it's super easy. You can get it done by your personal tutor, so no worries about that. Okay, Jake.
Cool. So here's what we expect from you. A university degree, it can be in any discipline. As for example, myself, I'm an urban planning graduate. Chloe is a linguistics graduate. Someone sitting next to you right now did French and business. So there's a big range of people's educational backgrounds within Chatteris, and like we said before, one of the things we value is what people bring to the organization. So you have freedom to be open about what you studied and share it with people and use it to kind of guide your interests within school. A very high level of English proficiency. You will be teaching English, you'll be modeling English, you'll be an example for how English is spoken to children. So I think it goes without saying that you would need a very high level of English proficiency. And follow on from that, an interest in working with children or teenagers. You can state your preference, whether you'd like to work in primary or secondary, depending on sort of how you see yourself as a teacher, but that can be quite flexible. It's not set in stone from when you apply, whether you would just be stuck with one or the other, and you can sort of be a bit flexible with that before you are placed in the school. A proactive and creative nature. I think proactivity and creativity are definitely two of the things we value a lot. So demonstrating that in your application. Like we said with the groups before, our CNETs are very proactive. They're very open to sharing what they know and what they have. Creativity. I mean, when you're working with kids, you need to think on your feet quite a lot and come up with some really cool things that the students are going to kind of latch onto in lessons. And cultural sensitivity and openness. You're going to be experiencing a lot of new things, and to have an open mind, to have a receptiveness to new things going on in your life, and to not carry too many preconceptions with you when you travel abroad, I think really helps your experience and really is going to make you the best teacher in an international setting as you can be. And so pass you back to Chloe.
Okay, so as I said, I kind of oversee all of our hiring practices. So let me give you some application tips to make you stand out and to make sure that you get through to our final round and get accepted onto the program. So as you know, we are an English teaching program. So spelling and grammar in your application is paramount. The amount of applications that we get in with silly mistakes or spelling and grammar issues is very high, and it does just make you question a candidate's ability to be able to teach English to others. So make sure you really check that. Also, make sure you answer our 2 long form answer questions thoroughly and thoughtfully. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Got it. So by answering these questions thoughtfully and really taking time on them, it shows us that you're interested in the program and that you care about it. If you don't answer the questions, your application won't be considered. End of, because we need to see that effort that you're willing to put in for the program. In your cover letter that you submit, make sure you tell us the reasons why you want to join us and what you're going to get out of the program. We have your CV along with all of your details, so there's no need to parrot what you've already said. Use this time to tell us something a little bit extra about you. If this is potentially one of the first jobs that you're applying for, or you don't know how to create a CV yet, we offer a CV template for you to use. Feel free to use that to make sure that you're giving us all the information that we require for your application. In your interviews, really let your personality shine through. I know it's easy to become a little bit shy or nervous, but if you get this role, you'll be standing in front of a classroom of 30 children. So we need to know that you're able to put yourself across in a really friendly and talkative manner. Before your interview, research the organization and the role thoroughly. We have all of our information on our website, and it's really easy to read through and just have an overview. One of our key first questions in the interview are, what do you know about the organization? What can you tell us about the role you'll be doing? So make sure you're prepared for that question. When you arrive to the interview, arrive promptly and dress smartly. It puts out a really good first impression if you arrive on time and are there dressed nice. And then in your interview, you can use the STAR technique. So if you haven't heard of this before, it's a situation, task, answer, response. So it makes sure that you're not babbling on or running out of things to say. So you state the situation you are in, say what task you had to do, and then from there, your action and your result. So it's a really great interview technique, if not for this interview, but for any in the future. Okay, so let's run through what our team has to say. I'll go through the first one and I'll let Jake go through the second two. So Emily, we've gone through her before, our program manager, said she initially joined as a way to travel and explore. Also working for Chatteris was a chance to use her skills working for a charity. She decided to stay for a second and maybe third or fourth year when she realized that there are fantastic opportunities for her to progress professionally within the organization, making her time with Chatteris the start of her career and not a prelude to it.
As you can see here, Jack identifies that what Chatteris has is a really good combination of being an NGO that provides teaching experience, professional development, personal development opportunities, and a strong support network. He says it's hard to come by, and yeah, we think so too. So we're really proud of the combination of services that we offer our graduates. And Patience, another tutor, says you get to meet people from all over the world. That makes Hong Kong feel like a home away from home. And yeah, I'll pass you back to Chloe.
Thank you. So the people in our organization that we spoke about today have all gone on to stay with us for 2, 3, 4 years. But there is the opportunity just to stay for the standard 9 months if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to commit to such a long time abroad. That's initially what I said when I moved out here. Oh, I'll just be here for 9 months and I'll come back to the UK and start a proper job. But I'm here nearly 4 years later, so completely up to you, but I'm sure you'll fall in love with Hong Kong once you get here. Now, you are free to follow us on our social media to keep up to date with what we're doing. We also have a YouTube channel where you can check out more videos from our tutors. We have a tutors experience kind of vlog style video series, which is really great to see what you can get up to while you're here. And also connect with us on LinkedIn. It'd be great to hear from you. Now we're ready for any questions you may have, so feel free to put them in the chat box.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. It was an incredibly interesting session. I would like to be able to do it for sure. And we'll be talking about it. The chat at the moment is a little bit, I think that we're getting messages through privately rather than openly. So apologies for everyone if you can't see other people's questions, but I will go through the questions that we are getting. Like I said, I'm going to group some of them together. Some of them are particular situations but are interesting and I think need to be asked, but don't worry, I won't give up your name. And so if we start with one of those, we had someone ask saying they were actually from India. So I don't know if this is something you can answer and you might want to say that straight off, but they are from India and he's very interested in the program, but he's married and would like to relocate with his partner. She's doing a separate job. So I guess the point is whether or not speaking to people from India could join your program or other people outside the UK, and then B, the whole question of if you're going out with a partner, how that works.
Okay, so you are more than welcome to join us from India as long as you possess the skills that we are looking for. If you can demonstrate that you have the same standard of English as a native speaker, you're more than welcome to apply. In terms of a partner, I actually came out here with my partner and we both worked for the organization. If your partner is not planning to work for the organization, that's also fine. However, we can't sponsor a visa on her behalf, so we don't do spousal visas. And during your 3-week orientation period, we would not be sponsoring her accommodation. So that would be up to her employer where she spent those first 3 weeks. Or if you wanted to move into an apartment together straight away, that would be up to you.
Great. So what you're saying is that even if you're a UK person who is bringing a UK partner with you, they would still have to sort out their own visas and things.
Yes, if they're not applying for Chatteris, we don't do spousal visas.
Great. Okay, so on to some of the other questions that we've got. They're being asked, what is it like in Hong Kong at the moment with the whole COVID situation? Will I be safe?
Okay, so we've actually been very lucky in Hong Kong. I mean, you wouldn't think so because we're so close to China, but I think because we have been so close, the measures have been very tight and the precautions have been very high to make sure that we are safe here. The numbers have never, I think the total cases we've ever had are about 1,500 over the past 2 years. And we've had under 200 deaths in total throughout the whole time. So that's really impressive.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, the government have had experience with dealing with issues like COVID when SARS hit in 2003, so they were prepared. At the moment, the city runs as normal. You just wear a mask. So you can do everything. You can go clubbing, you can go to restaurants, bars, everything. You just need to wear a mask when you're doing so. And that seems to have worked really well. When you enter the country, you will be put into a rank depending on which country you're entering from. So if you're joining us from the UK, you will have to be vaccinated to enter Hong Kong legally. And you will have to quarantine upon arrival. We will pay for your quarantine accommodation and put you in a hotel where you can do your quarantine time there. At the moment, it is 21 days, but this is likely to be reduced by next year.
That's going to lead on to some really nice questions from people who are sounding a little bit nervous, interested but nervous. And one of them was, how do you deal with the culture shock? Because clearly it's very different. Or is it?
I think Hong Kong can be very different, but it can also be very similar. I've got a Tesco's on my road downstairs, so it kind of feels a bit like home. It's really nice because we can have a mixture of both. You have a very homely kind of organization that you're working with, full of people from the UK, the US, Canada, other places throughout the world. So you have that piece of home to go back to. And then we also offer cultural workshops like Cantonese classes. We offer things such as street food making classes, dumpling workshops, help to get you to know about different festivals. So like Chinese New Year, we run events. For me personally, at the beginning, I was a little bit shocked just because of the amount of people, but you soon adapt and get used to it. I don't know, Jake, what did you find a little bit different?
It was kind of strange when I arrived. I expected it to be more, sort of more of a shock, but I think because Hong Kong is so well run, that when you see things like loads of people, you know, we have one of the best, if not the best public transport system in the world. So when you see like so many people in one place, you're like, like this is like too much. Like, how do I deal with this? And then you realize like everyone lives like that. So everyone's really aware of it. So it doesn't feel, it's organized chaos. It works well. It works under its own internal logic. And I think Hong Kong's history, being an ex-British colony, there is English is an official language of Hong Kong. It's not as widely spoken as Cantonese, but English is still widely recognized in Hong Kong. And I think that helps a lot, especially in situations where people might speak a really small amount of English, which can help you, for example, in like market stalls or just getting around, depending on what part of Hong Kong you're in as well. The English proficiency level can differ a lot. In some cases, if you're far out into like the rural part of Hong Kong, there's not going to be anyone really that speaks English. But if you're on Hong Kong Island in the center, the equivalent would be like central London. You can get around speaking just English. So English proficiency in Hong Kong is actually reasonably widespread, but the level varies a lot.
And does this mean, given your conversation with public transport and that the signs will be in English mostly as well? English, brilliant.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think conquering some of the nerves things could be the one that we could just focus on again, because I think there will be people who, it's a big step, and particularly in the situation we're in now. For someone who's never traveled overseas before, what would you recommend as sort of pre-nerves, how do you overcome your sort of anxiety about going? You want to go, you think it sounds a great idea, but it's still a bit scary.
I would say connect with the other tutors that will be on your program. You're all in the same situation. You know, there might even be someone from your university joining that you could meet up with beforehand and get to know. We do offer a really supportive community, and everybody that works in our organization has been in the exact same footsteps as you. Our CEO started as a graduate scheme recruit back in 2008, and he's grown with us since then. So even he had those jitters when he joined with us. So everyone's been through it. Don't be afraid to reach out, and we're all there for you to offer support.
And some practical questions. Oh, sorry, go on.
Just to sort of build on what Chloe said before, I was actually in that situation myself. I was born in Newcastle. I lived in Aberdeen for a year, then went to Newcastle University. I'd spent so much of my time in the Northeast, and I was really nervous about going out. You know, it's this good. You look at pictures, and go like, how can I possibly adapt to living in there? But having those anchors really helps. Chatteris, because we see so many graduates who do come from abroad, that we're really aware of that kind of procedure, and we do have like our mentor scheme, which will pair you up with someone who's been here for a year. The infrastructure for calling home, it's so much easier than you think it will be. Like, you think being far away in a different culture is going to be this kind of difficult thing, but you know, like, it's only 7/8 hours away, and it's really easy to call home. It's easy to get internet set up. The infrastructure is also mainly in English, and you'll have people here who have all been through the same procedure as you. One person is from a small island in Scotland, where there's like, I think 10 people on the island, and he has had the most like dramatic change between small island in Scotland and Hong Kong. So there's a huge range of people who have had a real breadth of experiences, and we are really happy to sort of pass that on and to link people who've had similar experiences too.
Right. We've got a few minutes more to ask some of the questions that we've got that are a bit more practical. I know you will have mentioned these on the presentation already, but it always helps if we can keep these quick answers. We can get through a lot of them. So how much does it cost?
How much does it cost? We pay 16,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. That's enough to live on. Hong Kong, it can be as expensive as you want and as cheap as you want. We recommend you spend a third of your wages on rent, a third on living, like food, bills, etc., and a third on doing what you want, going out to bars, seeing football matches, whatever you want. So it's more than enough to live on. Jake and I have both done it.
Yep. You mentioned that the training and costs and things are covered, but what about travel costs, including things like the flight there and back?
We don't offer reimbursement for flights. When you're in Hong Kong, transport is very cheap. Costs me 60 pence to get to work every day. So we don't cover costs for that. Yeah.
Great. And this, I like this question. How long will you stay in Hong Kong?
I'm planning to move next summer. I'm getting married and I'm moving to America.
Oh, America! Wow.
Jake, I don't know about you.
I'm here for the long run.
Did you go out thinking that? I mean, I think that's really kind of where the question is coming from. The program's 9 months, but do most people stay longer? Or go on, Jake, and your plans?
I was in it for the 9 months. I was on the plane over, and I thought, you know what? If you don't like it, there's no shame in going back the week later. I'm sure Chloe will be gutted that you've left after a week, but I'm sure she'll understand. And then it's been 2.5 years now. I have still not managed to intend to return home permanently. I will be doing my master's for another 2 years part-time, as well as working at Chatteris, and I intend to stay for the long run. I found the culture myself quite easy to integrate with, to find out how like Hong Kong works. And you meet so many people, so many groups of people of all ages who came out for a couple of months, and they really didn't do that. They all ended up staying for a massive amount of years between them. So a lot of people come to Hong Kong intending to stay for a couple of months, and then it's years.
Great. Well, it seems we're coming to the end of our session. Goodness me, excuse me. I'd like to thank both Chloe and Jake from Chatteris Education Foundation for joining us. If we didn't get to all of your questions, don't worry. You can see the social media there. Feel free to ping them a message, or if you want, Chloe and Jake, if you've got a email address or a contact site, you can pop that into the chat box now for them. It is time to wrap up, but remember, this session and all the National Graduate Week sessions and live events are being recorded. These will be available to watch again on the www.nationalgraduateweek.co.uk. And if you just give me a second, I'll pop that into the chat again. And while I'm doing that, Chloe and Jake, do you want to give one last parting words before we say goodbye?
Yep, I'd just like to say, if you do have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me via the HR email that I put in the chat, or you can connect with me personally on LinkedIn and we can chat on there. Feel free to ask any questions. There's nothing too stupid, too small to ask. We're really here to support you and to get you through.
Thank you both very, very much. It was lovely chatting with you. I don't know about everyone else watching, but I'm excited and wish I could relive my youth again. Take care. Enjoy. I guess it'll soon be evening for you. And I hope everyone else here has a really good day. Thank you, and that's goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.